Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.
Now that is an upset. We did not expect Gujarat Titans to drop points with the two oppositions they had on their way to a playoffs. They were in best place to not only finish in the top two, but even take top spot. The Lucknow Super Giants have shown us that they still have so much to fear. They won in the IPL for the first time since the 19th of April. They've snapped a 4-match losing streak. They've snapped Gujarat's 3-match winning streak. And we asked the questions of this entertaining game, 400 plus runs, on Nexa presents ESPN Cricket for TimeOut. Tom Moody, Varun Aaron and Yash Jha. Varun, did you see this coming? Is this like a real shock and surprise?
No, I did not. This is a shock. Also, GT started off well, but somewhere in the middle, this is only the second time where neither Sai nor Gill have batted till the 17th over, and neither of them have scored a 50. So this just shows us how fragile that middle order can be. We spoke a lot about it in the pre-show, mid-show, and it's just turning out to be one of those things where they might just really miss Butler a lot.
9.3 overs. The top three were dismissed. What do Gujarat Titans have now? Surely they won't panic, Tom, but what are the concerns after today's game?
I don't think there's any concerns at all. Obviously, they know Butler's going. That's a concern, but they already knew that before this game and the previous game. I think for me, probably LSG got 20 more runs than they should have got. I think the discipline that GT had with the ball could be slightly better than what it was. We've got to remember the two spinners were cleverly hit out of the game completely, so that sort of propelled their total to, the 2-3-5. And you look at their top order, which is unlike the blueprint that GT have got. All got starts. Sisa Dashan 21, Gill 35, Butler 33, Rutherford 38. That to me tells it all, because one of those four have to get a score of significance, sort of a 70, 80, 90, or if not more. Yeah. And then you're winning that game, because there's certainly no demons in that surface. It was a great surface to hit through the ball and find boundaries, 4s or 6s.
Break down the story from your lens, Yash.
A strange result, because in the context of the tournament, like you said, Lucknow doing the double over this GT who've been so good all season. And for Gujarat, while they've lost this game, and yes, the top two now gets tricky, that whole point we've spoken about of Shah Rukh Khan and the others getting some time, they've got a hit. It is the first time GT were 3 down in the first 10, like you said, 9.3.
Yep.
The earliest they had lost that trinity before this was 14.5 overs in the game at Wankhede. That's right. It is also the first time this season that none of that top 3 has scored 40. And if in that sort of a game they end up making 200, I wonder if that does make other teams still fear them, that they still score 200.
That's a nice point. If you were in the Punjab stroke, RCB stroke, MI dugout, looking at potentially even playing GT in Ahmedabad, would this game be of any use for you? That, we might have thought that is a problem they have, but we're actually seeing it play out, and we're also seeing perhaps some challenges with the ball in this game.
I think the biggest problem GT have had throughout the whole season, and that's been really camouflaged by their great batting, is their third seamer. Ishan Sharma was in and out. He was really expensive. Arshad Khan again was in and out, came back again now. Khajuria played one game. So I think teams are going to look to really go hard against that third seamer, because if they can get a lot of runs against the third seamer, then Prasidh Krishna comes in, maybe goes a little searching for wickets, because he's been that guy who's gotten them their wickets. So exactly what's happened today, the third seamer's gone for runs, and throughout the tournament, that's been a pattern.
Let's talk Gujarat bowling, shall we? With Rashid Khan's ineffectiveness today and his slightly hot and cold season, more cold than hot. Is that a bigger story today, Tom? That this bowling lineup at full strength has conceded 230. Forget that the batters have still got 200. They're a team that are built on the strength of their bowling. They normally come so well prepared with bowling plans for each opposition, for each surface. This is their home ground. Why were they so off today?
I wouldn't say they're massively off. We know Rashid Khan has taken time to get back to his best, and he's still not there, post his surgery. To me, I wouldn't be, if I was in GT's shoes, I wouldn't be reading too much into this game. Okay. There's a couple of obvious areas they need to just sharpen up a little bit, but it's one of those situations when you've been playing really good cricket, and if you look back too hard at a loss, at this stage of the season, you can get nearly lost in a negative space. I think they're better off just trying to take positives moving forward because we're right at the pointy end of the business. And the last thing you want to be doing is over-analysing certain issues. And I'm sure that, you know, the likes of Rashid Khan is doing everything in his powers to recapture that consistency, which we've seen before. But there's no doubt that, you know, his effectiveness, particularly against right-handers, which is normally where he's dominated, has been a real struggle.
Did you feel like, or did you sense, or can it even happen that looking at how they were placed and knowing that even if they beat Chennai on Sunday, they're still securing a top 2 finish, even as long as they get to 20, maybe it's not confirmed.
They now are in a position where if RCB and Punjab win their remaining games,
then 20 is not enough.
Yeah.
But they'll know something about that by Sunday afternoon. Did it feel like the players feel like, we don't need to necessarily put the intensity of, you know, a playoff or a must-win game, and perhaps that accounts for it? Can that happen, game like this?
No, I don't think so, because I know the way Nehra operates, he will not let anybody be relaxed, especially before a game like this, because LSG is a dangerous team. Their top 3 is very dangerous. Yes, their bowling might be slightly on the lighter side, but that being said, I think it's a blessing in disguise that GT goes in with this kind of loss. It actually brings out a few areas where they are deficient in. They can look at them, like Tom said, not panic about it, but at least have a look at, you know what, we can improve here and there. But I still feel that Rashid will step up in the big games, but that third fast bowling option could be a concern.
All right. We don't need to overanalyze this for GT. They've been an outstanding team. Is there anything else on GT, Yash, before I move to Lucknow?
I think it's more or less covered. While the third pace bowler is a problem, I think something we touched upon early in the day, Mohammad Siraj too, they'll hope that he finds his hotter self, because he blows hot and cold, and when it's cold, it's been quite bad in the last 6-7 games.
Fine, Siraj, fair point. But I guess one big tick, Nehra, look at the positives. Shah Rukh Khan. It's good innings, that. 57, 29.
Yeah, very good innings. And one of the things that Yash was talking about, you know, today was the exposure that the middle order, you know, possibly could get, and that was a welcome exposure for him. You know, to get a half century leading into the finals is, you know, absolutely the perfect tonic for him.
He's due, isn't he, Shah Rukh Khan? His career graph has gone up, down, price tag has gone up, down. He's not really young in comparison to some of the other players we're seeing. You see him as a big stage player come the playoffs?
I do see him as a big stage player, but again, he hasn't gotten that exposure in the playoffs ever. It's going to be a new stage for him, but I'm sure he's going to prove himself, because he is one of those players who has the power. He can step up he has stepped up for Tamil Nadu in the past. At least he has that pedigree of stepping up in the finals, and he won them that Syed Mushtaq Ali trophy, if we all remember.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk Lucknow. I think a lot of credit to them, and maybe we could start with Will O'Rourke, team that has not played an overseas seamer all season until the restart. O'Rourke's not played any franchise cricket. How good was that?
Yeah, no, he's a really exciting young prospect. Well suited to the conditions there. Tall bowler, gets bounce, bowls a natural hard length. You know, and to get 3 for 27 in his 4 overs is, you know, an outstanding return when both teams are scoring over 200.
You see him as a retention now?
I think definitely, yeah. I think he's put himself in that window for sure.
100%. Awkward bounce. Somehow, when you looked at the batsmen who got out to him today, they were kind of early on the shot. It's not that he was bowling slow balls, but his bounce and the way he delivers the ball just gives you that illusion that it's going to come on faster than it does, but it also has bounce. So really handy bowler, especially in these conditions.
Who do you liken him to? Is he Hazelwood-esque? Seems like he's got a little more. It's not that fluency of Hazelwood isn't there, even though he's tall. Who can he?
Very different bowler to Hazelwood. He's got more of an in-swinging angle to his bowling. Hazelwood is very much straight. He can get the ball to nibble both ways. But O'Rourke, more bounce and into the righty, away to the lefty.
A young Ishant Sharma.
Closer to that, yes,
Right.
100%.
And look at the lengths does point towards that, because 16 of his 24 today were length, short of good and short. Although it is the 8 full balls that got him his 3 wickets.
Yeah, okay. Very good from Will O'Rourke. How about that ball from Akash Singh to Josh Butler? I don't think we called that today, pre-match. Who's going to get Josh Butler out today? Akash Singh?
Great change of pace.
Lovely slow.
Yeah, lovely change of pace. Did him all ends up. And he was looking in some reasonable touch, didn't he? Played a couple of wonderful shots.
Yeah.
It was almost like you don't want to see this if you're a Gujarat Titans.
Yeah.
You just feel like this is what I'm going to miss come the playoffs.
Butler generally just trusts the pitch after he gets set, and for that ball to come in, the amount it came in was quite a surprise, because when you generally bowl an off cutter as a left arm bowler, as a batsman you expect the ball to hold but not come in that much. It was almost like an arm ball.
Yeah. He seems like a friend of Digvesh Rathi's as well.
Yeah. He just signed off.
It's almost like it's a quota that has to be one bowler on the field who.
If you do it to your own teammate, I don't think a match referee should have any problem. So, and I think it was
with
more
a smile.
it was more in zest and not anything serious. Anyway, Rathi will be back, I'm sure, next game. How closely can you look at this game from a Lucknow lens on a what if, and what things could have been sort of season? Because their batters have been terrific. I mean, Mitch Marsh has now sealed this as his best IPL. Hopefully, he still has a lot more desire to play IPL cricket. So the batting's in good shape.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Well, he's a brutal player at the top of the order, and he's enjoying this role with the impact player. He's playing half a game, so he's cooling his jets for 20 overs. He's even in the training kit. He's not even dressed in his playing kit in the second half.
Yeah.
But look, I think realistically, I don't think they'll look back and think, oh, what if this, what if that, because it's very clear there's a number of holes in their squad.
Yeah.
And because of that, you can see why they're not sort of playing finals this year.
I dug up something because we've spoken so much about GT's top three, and LSG's top three have also been so good.
Right.
They have almost touched 1,500 runs. It's 1,499 runs between that top three.
Wow.
And here's where it gets interesting. There are 25 instances of a team's top three batters scoring 1,500 or more runs in an IPL season. Only 4 of them have been for teams that didn't make it to the top 4.
Jeez.
I guess that tells you the story.
Yeah. Okay. I wonder if we also saw something today on what they tried to do in one game. I think the Delhi game, wasn't it? Where Pant was dropping himself down, lower down the order. And it was not working at 4. He tried one innings at the top when Marsh was unwell or ill. And then he came in at the end and just got out. But whether today, that he came in with just say 10 balls or 8 balls left and just got a couple away. And it just felt so much better. I'm sure Pant would feel better. Whether that in a small glimpse could be something they go. Now that they have this top 3 which you don't want to tweak, maybe throw in a Badoni at 4. Or go to the auction and try and solidify a 4-5 and let Pant try this role for the near future.
I think Pant had a few opportunities where he came in really late in the previous games also when the top 3 had really fired and took it really deep, but he just couldn't get off to it because he was trying a lot of. Again, today, I feel Pant, when he gets one shot behind square, he looks like a very different batsman. That's his go-to shot. That's what gives him confidence. And if you remember, the first 6 he hit today was behind square.
I thought the first one was straight.
The first one was straight down, and then he hit the
second one. Sorry,
second one, yeah.
Second one,
I mean, the irony was, I think he's been going only to that shot.
Exactly.
And looking for it. But today, when he went
worked.
sort of straight.
So that's a classic example of someone lacking confidence and form.
Yeah.
They lose the sort of structure of their innings, and they go to one particular favoured spot when they forget that they can score, all round the ground. But just to answer your question from my point of view,
Please.
I think messing with Punt on the back of this season and his batting position would be a flawed strategy. We've got to look at the bigger picture. Punt, still in IPL cricket, it's got a strike rate a tick under 150. Average a tick over 30, that's pretty handsome numbers.
Okay.
I would be backing him every way possible. The biggest question mark around Rishabh Pant for mine is, does he still want to captain? Has he still got that desire and real hunger to captain, and has that had any influence on his batting and the rest of his game?
For sure, if you add Pant, an in-form Pant, to this top 3, I'm sure LSG would have been in the conversation, or at least qualified by now in the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. If you find him out of form, maybe this is the best way to handle him then. You can make him do what Dhoni or Hardik Pandya do. If they fail, it's not like anyone goes hard on you for not being able to hit the last 4 balls for 4 or 6. But it seems like there were too many games where he came in and the innings went nowhere. It lost momentum after that. I just hope from an Indian cricket point of view, that he picks up some form. Got something on Pant, or shall we move on? All right, lots of things here. from you guys. Let's try and break it down in detail a little more. Some questions on GT, whether they missed a trick by picking the same team here. They could have played a Washington Sundar, they could have played Gerald Coetzee, all of whom are likelier to play in the playoffs, most certainly.
Coetzee, again, there might be a slight injury concern with Coetzee. They might be just protecting him for the back end with his groin not being 100%. With Washington Sundar on this wicket, maybe not, because there was a good grass covering. They would have gone into the game thinking this is going to assist the fast bowlers more. But at the end of the day, it's just that GT middle order which looks a bit too short. They're going to have to pull a real miracle if they are under pressure again to pull off games towards the back end.
Is Washington Sundar a potential solution to that extra pacer, which is, if you were finding that most of them are not working, would you consider changing the balance of your
100%,
bowling?
because he's a lot more experienced than their third pacer which they've been playing, or their fourth pacer when they do bring on the impact sub. So actually, yes, that's a good suggestion. Washington Sundar would fit in a lot better and also give them a better batting option.
Yeah, that's where I sort of lean more what he can bring to the party with the bat against what he can bring to the party with the ball, particularly if they're concerned about what happens after 1, 2 and 3.
I mean, we've seen a few new Chandigarh surfaces where it's turned, for what it's worth, but we're going to be playing there after a long time. But something for Ashish Nehra and Shubman Gill to consider. There's some confusion amongst our comments on whether Willow Rock can be retained. Now, as I understand it, he was the Mayank Yadav replacement, which is an injury replacement.
We can.
So he's not a temporary replacement for players unavailable or not returning or going for international duty. So
He's good.
And then does Mayank Yadav go out?
no, you can retain both. That rule has been there for a long time.
As long as you keep the squad balance.
Yeah, the overseas balance. Anyway, they only went with 6 overseas at the start of this season. The other question here is, at the end, now that you've picked this player, it would still be the franchise's prerogative to hold on to him, or would the player be in a position to think, I could have a really good payday at the next small auction? Should I go in there?
Yeah, absolutely. That's something you would consider. But generally, it depends how strong his agent is, I suppose. But from a player perspective, more often than not, the younger player is just there to get established, and just to be pleasing the franchise and be thrilled that he's got the opportunity to play in the IPL, and he'll probably feel he owes Lucknow because they're the ones that have opened the door for him to be exposed.
These replacement players, though, Tom, for injuries, at the big auction, you tend to think that these are now 3-year players that you've picked up. So it's the negotiating power lies more with the franchise than the player. But in the case of an injury replacement, are they usually just for that season and then maybe keeping the players' options open, or can LSG kind of still, from position of strength, retain a Willow Rock?
Of course they can, absolutely can. And I don't know what price he came in, whether he came in on his base price or you can negotiate your price up.
Yeah, Willow Rock is at 3 crore.
Brevis, for instance, came in and he's not.
So he also came
his
in
agent
at 3 because Mayank Yadav was an expensive signing, so you could have got a little more out.
Yeah.
So 3 crore.
Yeah. So look, for mine, I wouldn't hesitate to keep him, particularly given that they don't have a full complement of overseas players, and one of the holes that they've got in their squad is, quality pace bowling.
Okay, what else do we have on LSG? LSG had injuries to their Indian bowlers, says Nirmit. What explains their reluctance to pick an overseas bowler earlier? They had 2 slots remaining post-auction. They only picked Shamar and they never played him. Somewhere we're seeing some...
I think Shamar's an emotional pick too.
True.
He's got no real pedigree in T20 cricket. He's had, a stunning breakout season in Test cricket, particularly a Test match in Brisbane against Australia, where he really stunned everyone with his heart and his skill. But I thought that was more of an emotional pick, not a strategic pick for horses for courses. It's not like his style of bowling is going to be well suited to their home venue or anything like that. Yeah, I just thought that was an error in selection.
Also with Mayank Yadav, just the excitement of Mayank Yadav from last year, they were hoping that when he's going to come back, he's just going to blow everybody away. But this year, Mayank Yadav, he was at least 10K off his fastest, off from his average pace from last year. 10K is a lot. And he didn't look like the bowler he was. Also, he's gotten injured again. So there were just so many hopes and ifs and buts, but that never really worked out.
And I think we said it pretty much from the auction time when you were around, that it was one of the strangest overseas assortments perhaps in IPL history.
LSG,
Because you picked three top order batters to start. You picked a Matthew Breetzker, who was also a top order option, David Miller and Shamar Joseph.
Yeah, I mean, David Miller's like not even in the conversation right now. I wonder what plans for him going into the next cycle. And he was a pretty decent price, 7 plus. Yeah. All right. Well, that is Lucknow's story for now. This keeps the race to the top two and quite interesting.
Heated up.
I wonder if that changes how you guys look at the top two. If GTF CSK now, there is the game between RCB and Sunrisers tomorrow, which I don't think now we can take any game for granted. I don't think the RCB fans can wake up tomorrow and say, oh, we should be beating Sunrisers.
They'll be nervous about that game, even before today's game, because we know Sunrisers are a genuine threat. We all thought they would be top 4 team. I think most people thought they would be a top 4 team, but they just haven't fired. But they have got the firepower to blow you out of the park, a bit like what LSG did with their top order.
And they still due that 300.
And they still due a good game from Mohammad Shami if he comes back tomorrow.
The 300 is saved for Sunday night, SRH KKR. That's when they'll sign off. Last year's finalists will give us a farewell game to remember. All right, that is that. Well, let's have our rapid fire review, shall we, gentlemen? You all know how this works. Quick fire summation of the game. Tom, let me start with you. Gujarat Titans, middle order, got some time, but they didn't get the job done. Are there any reasons to be worried?
I don't think there's any reason to be worried. I think Shahrukh Khan getting a half century was a real bonus for them. You know, Tawatia missed out, but I don't think that's going to bother him too much or the team too much. You know, the reason they didn't find themselves close to that total of 235 was purely the top order got starts but didn't go on.
All right, Varun, how satisfying would Shahrukh Khan's knock be for the GT management today?
Very big knock, because there were a lot of more concerns that the middle order has not got enough time in the middle, and the few times they did get a lot of time in the middle, they weren't successful. But Shahrukh Khan coming good is really, really important, especially for them going into the back end.
I'll throw you a nice little underarm half volley. A lot of missing pieces, but is the top 3 sealed for Lucknow next year? Marsh Markram Puran?
It's about the only thing that's sealed for them, given how the season has gone. 1,500 runs between them. They will need to do a lot more, but yes, that top 3 stays intact.
Excellent. Right, back to you, Varun. Siraj, is he running out of form? Rashid going for some runs? Do GT have bowling issues? And if so, what are they?
They do have slight bowling issues. I would still back Siraj and Rashid, big match players, to come good in the playoffs. But that third seaming option is a problem, which has been a problem throughout the season, and their batting has covered up for it.
All right, Tom, sum up the Mitch Marsh innings today, in particular, his impact on taking down Rashid Khan and how big a moment that was given the game.
Well, he's had a great season to date. He's clearly in form and he's brutal when he's on, because he's got such a strong game both on front foot and back foot. He identified, a moment in the game where the Rashid Khan deployment was a critical point for him to really go hard, and he went hard early and he just kept that momentum and put Rashid under pressure, and we saw him bowl half trackers, which we don't normally do.
All right, and finally, all of you can chip in on this. Will GT miss out on a top 2 spot as a result of this game? Varun?
Unlikely. I think they will beat CSK at home.
Tom?
No, they'll be fine.
Okay.
Yes, they'll be fine. GT Punjab in qualifier 1.
Oh, okay. Wow, all right.
Everybody's backing Punjab.
Okay, I'm not backing anything now. Lucknow have told me you can't predict anything now. So I'm going the other way around. I'm going for Sunrisers to win, Delhi to beat Punjab, CSK to beat GTA. All of it is possible. That should make for some fun. And that is the kind of game we have left for you. If you look at the points table now, it keeps the top 2 race very interesting. Yes, we've had the earliest confirmation ever in IPL history of our top 4 at the end of match 63 last night. But as far as 1-2 go, which is such a big thing, in particular this season, with key overseas players absent for the playoffs, you just want to finish with that insurance of qualifier number 2. So Gujarat have missed out the possibility. They can max go to 20 now. RCB have SRH and Lucknow, which is suddenly a tough game, and they can go to 21. Punjab Kings play Delhi and Mumbai. Mumbai play Punjab. That, of course, Mumbai will play them on Monday, so they'll see how everything's played out before that. All right, this is where I say thank you very much to Varun Aaron. Waiting to see, keep looking at that scorecard on the ESPN. We can learn it, note it by heart. Varun, I will see you back for the business, the real business end, for the playoffs. Look forward to your company there.
Same here.
Mr. Moody, I can't get enough of you. I also can't seem to get rid of you. So I shall see you tomorrow. Great man.
He's in a mood.
Yeah, I'll let him go.
Please do. Yash, well done. I will see you again very soon, but we'll bring Dustin back. We'll have to drag him out of his bed, still crying over United's loss in the Europa League final. But we'll find a way. We'll find a way. Tomorrow it is then. RCB finally in action after the restart, and they will play SRH in Lucknow. Built up before the toss on Nexa Presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Good night.
Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting France with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.